Welcome back to the Amateur Hour Sports Podcast, and we have just found out that the NBA has decided to postpone its league until further notice, so there will not be any NBA games played beyond tonight, which is the day of recording. This episode will be out tomorrow. Obviously, I think within the next day or so, there's going to be a lot more information, a lot more leagues taking action. But for now, I have Colin and Roman with me to discuss the NBA shutting down for the time being, and as well as other leagues. You know, the Europa League has been canceled till further notice. I believe the games tomorrow are canceled.
Europa games got canceled. NCAA tournament has been announced.
No fans.
No fans.
No fans in March.
Ivy League canceled their whole tournament. They just sent.
Yeah, they didn't even let them play the tournament.
Yale, thank
you.
Yeah.
Other teams can still get in, like if they're seeded, but like since they were the regular season champs of that conference, they sent them.
The Indian Wells was
canceled. So how do you feel? Oh yeah, the ATP also suspended their tours for 6 weeks. How do you guys feel about it?
I think obviously you want to take as many precautions as possible, and to do that you need to limit the amount of contact between pretty much everyone on the earth. As far as playing games without fans, I actually think that's not a bad idea. That way teams can still make some money off TV deals. They're not, losing a bunch of money from not having people come to their games. In terms of containing the virus, it would still work. Playing games with no fans, I think it would definitely help. I know you guys kind of look at each other.
But
I think,
in all fairness, we already saw one report.
It didn't work.
Yeah, so Rugani, who's a center back on Juventus, but they played Inter.
Okay, but you don't know that.
No, it's confirmed. They played
Okay, but he probably contracted it before,
Okay, but what I'm saying
and
is...
also, Rudy Gobert has it, and may have had it for a number of days.
They played Inter behind closed doors, and he still had it. Well, we don't know when he had it, if he had it then, but he has it now.
We don't know if he had it during the play. In the game against Inter Milan on the weekend, Juventus won 2-0. Yeah. Rugani played in that game. So it's possible he had the virus at that point, and it's possible Rudy Gobert had the virus when Utah played against Toronto the other day. Yeah. So could have given it to some Raptors players. They could have brought it back. Obviously, NBA players are very involved in the community. Just kind of sum it up, as a fan, I'm really upset that we won't be able to get the sports. But as a human, I can understand the precautions.
I can definitely understand.
I understand the precautions necessary towards this, and I'm fully supportive of whatever drastic measures need to be taken. Yeah, I was just saying before this episode, like 24 hours ago, we all live in Sudbury for school, Sudbury, Ontario, up in northern Ontario, and we were fine here for a while, and all of a sudden this morning, first confirmed case in this city, and apparently it happened at a conference in Toronto about 4 hours away, and a number of Sudburyans were at that event, including a lot of students at our university. So our university shut down. So all of a sudden, this big wave came over us today. I guess a bit of fear involved because, yesterday it was business as usual, going to class every day, and all of a sudden, we probably won't be back in class until next year, in September. So
there's a good chance of that.
Big changes can happen in a day, and we might be outdated with our information that we have on it when this episode comes out tomorrow. But at the moment, it is scary times.
I'm intrigued to see how the leagues, especially the NBA, handles... If they are to cancel the entire season, I'm very intrigued to see how they handle, everything else. Whether that be, if they just don't declare a winner, how the awards would go.
They kind of wash the season?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I feel if they were to completely shut down the season, that would be, just as bad as, having a lockout where there's just there's no end result.
I wonder if we're going to see all the major leagues kind of do the same thing where they go different routes. We've seen the NBA close. We haven't seen the NHL close yet, but if they close, it would be interesting to see if they do the same thing the NBA does.
Probably going to happen.
I think we're trending towards a cancellation of all the big leagues. I think that the MLS, the NHL, MLB is starting to come around. I think they will use the NBA as a precedent, and they don't want to get to a point where a player is infected. So I think that they will take the necessary precautions within the next couple of days and and postpone any games. I think that's the right measure.
Rudy Gobert, that's a $30 million patient right there.
Yeah, and Rudy Gobert, if you've probably seen at this point, but made a big deal about 2 days ago at a press conference of touching every single microphone and recorder in front of jokingly. And, well, we don't know if that is what got him the contraction of the virus. We don't know if he had the virus at that point and infected other people because he touched all the microphones jokingly. And, maybe got it after, maybe he already had it. We don't know. But, what we do know is that, there's high-profile celebrities, and Rudy Gobert is amongst those, I think, that have contracted the virus, and, teams need to watch out. But what do you guys think if it is, at least a few weeks without any NBA? How do you think they're going to handle the rest of the season?
I have no idea. That's what I'm so intrigued to see.
I think what should be considered is playoffs. Just straight playoffs from this.
You just go from the season, just take where everyone's landed?
Yeah, wherever everybody is.
Not
yeah, but do you think they even have the opportunity to do a playoff?
Well, if they push into the summer.
Well, it depends. If we go a month.
Yeah,
it's possible.
The only thing that they're competing with in the summer is what? Baseball and tennis?
No, there's 2 ginormous tournaments this summer for airtime. You're looking at Euro and the Olympics.
Yeah,
if
the
they
European
both run, it's
soccer,
unconfirmed.
Who knows if any of those things are going to happen at this point?
We don't know. I think if it goes a month, we get into early April and we're back in the NBA. I think that the NBA could consider maybe shortening the rest of the season, or even just going right into playoffs.
Yeah.
I think that's an avenue that they may want to consider. I think we've gone 64 games into the season, 65-ish for most.
Do you guys think they could also, if they do want to determine a winner in a short amount of time, but also make it fair, instead of having 7-game series, maybe have best of 3?
No, they won't do that.
They'll do 7s if they
It's going to be 7.
Yeah. I'll be surprised if they shorten
I think that they can afford to go deep into the summer if they have to. Like, they can go into, they can start playoffs late.
Yeah, they can start in August if they.
I don't think that. I think they know the revenues in the playoffs, and if they can wait to have fans in the arena for the playoffs and get the league back on track,
they would rather have that.
They'll do it later if they have to. I think that's an avenue.
Plus, that would also help teams get healthy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like for the playoffs, right? Like, some teams are completely healthy. If you do have that break, you allow them to get healthier.
For example, I think
Nurkic said he'll be March 15th was his return, but that won't happen anymore. Obviously, LA Clippers have not been healthy really. Well, they have had some healthy games, but I don't know. The Clippers,
even Toronto.
If the Clippers water boy is out with the common cold, then they'll say they're not a fully healthy team and say, that's why we lost today. But
Toronto's got Norm out, Van Vliet, Gasol.
Gasol's not healthy.
Gasol's not fully healthy, but he'll be ready.
Yet.
Ibaka's not so fully healthy.
The one thing if we were to say to push the playoffs into the summer and the Olympics were to run is we do have basketball in the Olympics.
That is true.
So depending on, I don't think the majority of players. Actually, you can't even say
I
that.
feel like the majority of the players would rather play NBA.
You don't know some of the smaller ones. They may go country. That's why we may see a surge of different teams.
Steph Curry has said he wants to play in the Olympics this summer. Get himself ready for the season.
He could definitely do it. They're not
going to make playoffs.
Yeah, but the thing is, we could. You know what? You're right. We could see an Olympics where we don't have NBA players who are in the playoffs. It's kind of like the Canadian Hockey World Hockey Championships where NHL players who made the playoffs.
It would hurt some teams.
They aren't going to the World Championships, right?
It hurt some teams a lot.
But I think that would definitely still help keep, the sport culture afloat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amidst everything that's happening, I think, even though you want to, everyone's number one concern is to contain the virus, you still want to give people some sort of an escape from that. Right? And I feel like sports is a great way to do that, right? If everyone's panicking, freaking out about the coronavirus, I feel like at least they should be able to just turn on a game and watch their team. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like at least have it happen at some point.
Yeah, and we're saying contain the virus at every whichever way you can, but if there is an avenue you can take to enable sports to happen, then take the opportunity, but don't do that.
Don't jeopardize.
If you're jeopardizing
the
safety of fans, of players, of staff, all that.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we'll see playoffs. It'll be very, very odd not to have a playoff year. That's why.
Well,
they're still gonna run him no matter what. I don't walk out.
The only one I can really think of is the '95 MLB season. They didn't. I believe it was '95 where they locked out halfway through the year and there was no World Series winner that year. And Expos fans are very upset about that because they were favorites to go on and win the World Series that year.
They're probably
they never ended up winning a World Series and they eventually moved. Yeah. So.
They don't even know what they
I actually did not know that.
If you're a Bucks fan, if you're a Lakers fan, you'd be a little bit upset if you don't get the chance this season.
Look at the Serie A right now. They have no idea what they want to do.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's oh my gosh.
A lot of ambiguity about the situation. Just simply, we do not have the answer. We do not know what to do. So, go on hold, figure out what the next steps are, then proceed safely, knowing what you're gonna do. I think that's all we have for this episode. Thank you for listening. Let us know what you think. All the links are in the description below for social media, for any way you can experience amateur hour, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Apple Podcast or YouTube. And we post every single day on the podcast. We're going to keep trying to do that even through where there potentially may not be as many sports to talk about, but we're going to push through and do what we can to keep giving you that daily content every day since September 23rd.
Every single day.
Dropping.
See you again tomorrow.